Hello and welcome back to NA Turbo. So I thought I haven't done a bit of an update on the fleet for a while, so I thought I'd do one today, given the weather's exceptionally toasty. And yeah, I thought I'd start with the RCZ. So this joined the fleet about 3 months ago now as my new daily, replacing the Jag XF, if you've seen that video. So long story short, I basically needed something a bit more frugal to sort of go up and down to work, and something that didn't cost £600 a year to tax. So after looking around and deciding I didn't want something boring, I settled on this. So it's been settling down. I've done about sort of 3,000 miles in it, but it hasn't been without troubles. So it was a sort of £5,000 car when I bought it because of the price of everything now. But yeah, I've spent about another £500 on top of that just to get it working fully. Even though it came from a garage and it had the cam belt and water pump done, it had an MOT on it. I had problems first off with the aircon condenser on it had failed, so the aircon didn't work, but when I bought the car it was cold, so I didn't test that. So I replaced that and had a regas, which was sort of £300 all in. Then I noticed the rear brakes, particularly on the sort of the driver's side, if I pan round here, these were getting exceptionally warm. So diagnosed that as a culprit of a sticking caliper. So fairly cheap replacement part, about 40 odd pounds for the caliper, but the issue was the pads has also seized into it, and it was a case of then trying to get it out, and the hard lines didn't want to come out of the brake caliper, so we ended up sort of sawing the hard line to get it out. Then it didn't want to flare properly, so when you then put it back together it was leaking again. I think we're about to be disturbed by cars coming down the road, apologies about that. So yeah, eventually we had to put a join in it, and a bit of a bodge job in that we joined the steel line via a join to the conifer line and then reflared it and put that back on, and touch wood, that was all good. Then I bought new pads as a matter of course because I knew it would have knackered them, so I replaced those. So then came time to do the other side, and the pads in there were also sticking in and were very low. But now that's fixed and it brakes better than ever, surprisingly. It's actually doing better on miles per gallon as well, which is even better. I'm getting around on the motorway anywhere between 58 and 62, which is just amazing compared to the Jag's 33. So yeah, that was sort of a big job sort of doing that to it, and it was just a pain in terms of the time. So the other thing I've done on it, I've fitted 2 new front tyres on it because the ones it had were cracked on the sidewall, and although it was fine for an MOT, I didn't want to be running up and down the motorway with that. And being these lovely 19s that it's got on it as an upgrade, if I can sort of show you those, they were much more expensive than 18s or 20s. So a bit of shopping around, and I got a pair for sort of £270 in the end, so not too bad. Then it decided to go all French, and the windscreen washer pump stopped working, which again was a pain in the backside, especially when you're using the car as a daily. And the washer pump, if I come around to the driver's side, is hidden about here underneath. So you have to peel the inner arch liner back, pull this off, to enable you to get to it, and the pump is sat down here somewhere right at the bottom, and we replaced that. But yes, I hate modern cars for that. Much some of the older stuff that you can see behind has it in the bonnet, so in the engine bay where you can easily get to it. So yeah, that was a bit of a pain in the backside to do. So now I've got fully functioning washers again, which helps, so I don't have to carry a bottle of water in to chuck on to be manual. So it's hopefully settling down. It's just ticked over to just over 100,000 now. So hopefully plenty more life in it yet, given what I've paid and spent on it. But I guess the motto is, you know, even if you buy a car for strong money from a garage, at the end of the day, this is 2011, so it's well over 10 years old. It's still going to need work, and you're still going to have to spend on it. So don't assume just because you're buying it from a garage that it's going to be all hunky-dory and fine, and you're not going to have to spend anything on it, and you're going to be able to get in it and just drive it. because it's sort of not the case, so just be prepared for that. But I'll do a full sort of walk around and have a look around it at some point in the very near future. But that's the Peugeot. So if we pan back, so the Supra is just being the Supra, really. I'm going to Festival and Exceptional this year down in Leicestershire, so I'll be taking this. My brother Ryan has been using it because the 21's going because French, so he's got a few issues that he's going to sort out. So he's going to be taking that next week, and the aircon's still ice cold in it, which is lovely. But the only problem is it does 24 to the gallon, so still the usual bits I've got to sort out before Festival and Exceptional. I'm going to sort of do a bit more bodgery around these rear arches, and as you can see there, sort of looking a bit grotty. Again, the plan is to replace them. I've got the other side. This side I did intend to get as a panel from the States, but by the time I get that here from the eBay seller, it's £500. And the Peugeot over there decided to swallow up any cash I had left to be able to do that. So, yeah, it didn't quite go as planned. So that's still on the to-do list, and I'm hoping with just a bit more bodgery for this year, he'll go through the MOT, and then I promised him next year will be his year for getting the bodywork done. So that's him. Rado sat over there in the corner. Excuse the sheet, that's just to keep the sunlight off, because I've had dash cracking in other cars, and on this in particular, the last time we had 32-degree heat, it ruined the top of the steering wheel for me. So it's just to sort of keep the sun and heat off it. But yeah, he's come back. He's still got his electrical faults, 2 of now, which I know of, and one of them, which is the fan constantly running, is hopefully down to a sensor that I've narrowed it down to. So hopefully they're coming from Auto Dock. They've been delayed a bit. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, next week or so, they'll be arriving, and I can get that fitted. I bought 2 because I wasn't sure which one it was, and they were cheap enough. So hopefully they'll be arriving in the next week or so, and then I can stop having the freaking fan on all the time, which, apart from deafening you, is doing nothing good for the fuel economy at the moment. So I used to get about 35 on a run, 36 on a run from it, but with the fan on and keeping the engine constantly cold, it's struggling to do 30. And obviously with rip-off fuel prices the way they are at the moment, you need every miles per gallon that you can get. So that's the Corrado. What else have we got? So the SD1 is out. It's out of the garage. It's decided to do because Rover. So Ryan was going to MOT it a few weeks back now, and then it decided, just as he was warming it up, that the fuel pump wasn't going to work, so he replaced that. And then also the he thinks, having replaced that, it's still got the same issue where when it's hot it almost fuel starvation. So he thinks that's to do with an oil pickup sensor that also relates to the running. So yeah, he's got one of those on order, and hopefully then the baby will be MOT'd. It'll be nice to see it on the road and have a ride in it, because it's been a long time. So hopefully that's him. Ignore the Astra and the MR2. They're my dad's. So yeah, the Renault 21 is booked in next week for a new windscreen after some searching around. And yeah, don't trust any of the major ones when they say it's simplicity. It's simplicity if you've got a new car. If you've got an old car, it's far from simple. But sort of half an hour on the phone and phoning round, found a very good local company that's going to come out and replace the windscreen for Ryan for him. So that'll be that. And then his insurance company were very good, and we can actually claim it back from them. So yeah, all the advertising in the world for these new windscreen companies, all very well and good, unless it's an old car. So that's that. It's got a slight oil weep from the power steering, which Ryan's going to hopefully solve. And it's got an oil leak from the sump plug, which he's got new rings to sort of put in, and hopefully that'll stop that. But he's been using that, so now it's back on the road, and yeah, still getting 41 to the gallon. So that's the 21. And yeah, we'll sort of go rack around the back and have a chat with Ryan, and we can see exactly what's been happening with the Tomcat, because yeah, it's a bit different from last time you saw it, and it was all because it decided to have a 100-a-day smoking habit. So join us again in a little bit, and he'll explain all what's going on.